Hi, Rich. Jeff Allen here, and I was reading. This is an AI topics, right? So this video is going to be a series on. And what I want to do is talk about uh, one of the topics came up was there was an interview with the founder of Google Brain, and there's a post on LinkedIn about it. And he said it. I don't have the exact quote right here because it actually disappeared in my feed. I had it up and then it kind of disappeared here. I'll try to get it. Yeah, I'll get it here. And what he said was, there was a comment here, is he said, in many industries, no, he said in the midst of all the hype right here and all this about chat GTP, and then the whole thing of companies that should prioritize in smaller amounts of good data, smaller amounts of good data. And he said in many industries where giant data sets simply don't exist, I think the focus has to shift from big data to good data. Now, this is really interesting, and this shows how hype cycles work, right? And this, I remember back in 2012, no, 2009 actually, 2008, 2009, 2010. I remember on LinkedIn, and there was all the kind of the focus on for automated translation, the statistical machine translation, all that. And I had worked on that before, but I worked a lot on rule-based automatic translation systems and got them to really be extremely productive for individuals and for companies too. But I was able to do it so that we could make it really productive and efficient for individuals, for like a lot of freelancers that are working and doing a lot of translation. And I remember the whole focus at that point. There were a lot of things. Yeah, but it's not now. It's all statistical machine translation, which means lots of data. And in 2010, they couldn't create. No one could really create a statistical machine translation or automated translation system for my Haitian Creole data. That is one other than what Microsoft was able to use, but no one else could do it because they didn't have enough data. The amount of data I could give them wasn't sufficient for a language like that, Haitian Creole. And I kind of laughed at that point, and I said, "Look, folks, and this is just one case, but I said, if you look at all of the surveys that are up on Prose.com. Prose.com is one of the main platforms for freelance translators. There's like 150,000 translators that are registered in this thing, right? At least. And one of the things that one of the surveys that I'd seen up at polls, these little polls, have these little daily polls up, and I'd seen the size of translation projects. And I had been talking about this for years. I said, we need to stop focusing on big data, big projects, big data having all this, because the majority of the projects are smaller that are funded, and the people that pay for them and all that, people that do the work. And it was funny when I looked at the survey, one of the polls, and seen that there was actually a poll, how big is your translation project? And lo and behold, it was indicated that the majority of people in the poll said that the majority of the projects that they work on are under 7,500 words. That's small. Okay, that's really small. And that's not big data at all. Now, they may be repeat kind of related projects, but not always, hardly. So a lot of the projects were smaller, and that's why I said that's why we need to focus on helping people. Is all the people that are doing this, rather than focus on a few big projects, a lot of data where you got it. We need to focus on do it. And look at now he's saying here. He says now with the whole thing of all these, you know, AI stuff, we need to focus on smaller business and stuff that don't have a lot of data. So we need to work on good data with smaller data sets. Ah, uh, I said that too. I mean, a long time ago. But now it's coming up in this hype, right? And it was the whole hype for the automated statistical machine translation back in 2010ish, right? And right before actually, had it been from 2000, actually it was from 2001 up to 2010. I'd written some even articles about it at the time. But now we're seeing it with the hype cycle, with all the interest that's there and high expectations. We've got it so that there's a lot of people that are you know, and it's the focus on it. With statistical machine translation, also neural machine translation, which needs big data too. It didn't go away, and now we're finally finding out, another decade later or more, that the big data situations are not always the case. And now someone had to say it because of AI apps and how much attention they've caught over the past few weeks. When one company decides to go ahead and put a an AI, an AI app out there, and it happens to get a lot of traction. The majority of stuff out there, folks, are smaller niche projects and things. They're not huge. There are a few industries that have a lot of data, and but even all they have, a lot of companies have, or enterprises, or even governments or NGOs, they have their own data and they don't want to share it with others. Not a lot that they do publish some stuff, but they don't. Even the governments, not a lot of stuff's internal, right? So the real thing is to focus on the smaller data. And when you've got small data, it's got to be good data. Now, that is a whole nother thing of what is good data, or how good is good. We can do all that, but the thing is that we need to find ways how to work with the smaller data sets, and to make it so it's diverse enough for it to be usable. This is always a challenge, and that's I spent a lot of time working on, to make it so that it worked for people that were in all these jobs that had a lot of these non-big data sets again. So finally, we got some interest going along this ways to deal with all the business users that are not in these situations where we got all the data to be able to train the systems on. So let's see where this goes in the future.